Her mom said I was lucky to marry her, then demanded I pay off $45,000 and hand over my condo. Hi, I'm Matt, 32, and my fiancé used to say she wanted a man like Jessica's husband. So I became him. BMWs, vacations, and a prenup. But the part she didn't expect? That last one. It started like most slippery slopes do, with a compliment wrapped in a jab. We were driving home from a dinner party where her friend's husband had just unveiled his brand new BMW X5. Sleek, black, fully loaded. My fiancée practically sat in it longer than she sat at the dinner table. On the drive home, she crossed her arms, stared out the window, and said, "Why can't you be more like Jessica's husband?" I kept my hands at 10 and 2, said, "Good point." She smiled, thought she won. The next week, the comparisons multiplied like rabbits. Jessica's husband takes her on weekend trips. Jessica's husband surprised her with Gucci. Jessica's husband doesn't make her split the bill. Every day, it was Jessica's husband, Jessica's husband, Jessica's husband, like I was dating both of them. Now let me pause to give context. I'm not broke. I make $140,000 working in finance. My fiancé makes $55,000 as a marketing coordinator. We split things proportionally, not evenly. I cover more. Always have. I thought that was fair, but apparently, fair wasn't proper, because she started using that word. Other men provide properly. What exactly is properly? Apparently, it's spontaneous luxury with no questions asked. And I almost swallowed it until a couple we were having coffee with mentioned something that stuck. The guy casually brought up his prenup. My fiancé laughed like it was a joke. Who even does that anymore? That's so unromantic. But the guy? He shrugged and said, "Protected both of us." Smart move. And that's when it clicked. I texted Jessica's husband, "Hey man, just curious. You guys do a prenup?" His reply, "Yep." Financial advisor insisted. Before I even bought the ring. Double quotes interesting. So that weekend, during Sunday dinner, my fiancé brings up cars again. I was thinking maybe we upgrade after the wedding. Like a BMW. I nod. Yeah, you're right. We should be more like Jessica and her husband. So, let's start with a prenup. Her face changed so fast it could have caused a solar eclipse. She called me cold, calculating, said I didn't trust her, said she couldn't believe I would even suggest something like that. I reminded her, Jessica's husband has won, so I'm just matching energy. She stormed out. I didn't chase her. That week, I hired a lawyer, drafted a prenup that protected my premarital condo, my investments, my retirement, and, get this, even had a lifestyle clause that gave her increasing compensation depending on how long the marriage lasted. Nothing unfair, but when I handed it to her, she stared at it like I dropped a live grenade on the table, and that's when the real show began. The next morning, I woke up to a war. Not from her mother, her sister, her best friend. My phone lit up like I'd kicked a puppy on live TV. Voicemails poured in with variations of, "How dare you insult her with a prenup?" One said, "You're lucky she even agreed to marry you. Now, you're treating her like a gold digger?" I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I forwarded the worst voicemail, her mom, practically screeching to my lawyer. Her reply, "Good. Document everything. By sun." My fiancé showed up with reinforcements. Her mother and sister flanked her like she was storming a castle. They walked in without asking and sat down like it was an intervention. "We need to talk about this prenup," her mom said, eyebrows sharp enough to cut glass. "It's completely unacceptable." I stayed calm. "It's completely standard, especially for someone with nearly $600,000 in assets to protect," her sister scoffed. "You're not rich. My condo's worth $320,000. My retirement's around $180,000. Investments, another $95,000. I'm not a billionaire, but that's still mine. From before we met. The prenup just protects that." Then I dropped the bomb. "Jessica's husband has won. You all keep calling him perfect. So what's the issue when I do the same thing?" Silence, like someone had hit mute on the entire family. My fiancé's mouth opened, but no words came out. Finally she said, "It's different." "How?" "He has more to protect." I stared at her. "So the more I have, the more I need to protect it, but the less I have, the less I'm allowed to protect it. That logic only benefits you." That landed hard. They left in silence, tension thick enough to bottle. Monday, I got a call, not from her, from Jessica's husband. He sounded nervous. Hey, maybe don't mention our prenup to Madison anymore. She's pretty upset. Why? She told me to be like you. Yeah, but you actually did it. Exactly. Tuesday, my fiancée came back with her lawyer. Or more accurately, guy who looked like he specialized in traffic tickets and divorce settlements. For $199 flat fee. He opened with, "This document is highly favorable to your client." That's the point, I said. My fiancée cut in. "It makes me feel like an employee, like you're giving me a severance package." "No," I said calmly. "It makes you my equal partner, not an entitled shareholder." Her lawyer tried to play mediator. "Perhaps we could revise some clauses?" I shook my head. "She keeps her assets. I keep mine. If she won't sign that, then there's no wedding." And with that, they left. But this time, I didn't feel nervous. I felt ready. Because now, it seemed what she really wanted. Not partnership, not protection, just access. With zero accountability, that Friday, I came home to find her sitting on my couch alone this time, takeout bag in hand. Her apology language was always pad thai and wide eyes. We ate in silence. She tried small talk. "Work's been crazy. Carol finally quit." I let her talk. Let her pretend the last 2 weeks hadn't happened. Then, I pulled out the envelope. "I matched your dream husband's energy," I said, sliding it across the table. "Here's the prenup." Again, she stared at it like I'd placed a loaded mousetrap in front of her. "You actually had it drafted?" she said, voice cracking. "You kept saying I should be more like him." "I am." She didn't open it, just sat there stiff. "Do you expect me to hire a lawyer too?" "I expect you to take your own advice." Her face hardened. She stood up and left without touching her food. Saturday morning, I woke to a voicemail from her mom. "Shameful. Controlling. You're ruining this marriage before it starts." I forwarded it to my lawyer. By Sunday, it escalated. She showed up again with her mom and sister in tow. Her mom slammed papers on the table. "Here's our counter-proposal." I picked up the sheets. An prenup. But a marital agreement that guaranteed her a luxury vehicle within 12 months, required I pay her $45,000 student debt before the wedding, gave her full rights to the condo if we ever lived in it together, forced me to maintain marital lifestyle standards with the $75,000 annual fund for family planning. "This is a joke," I said flatly. Her dad, who'd come along this time, looked embarrassed. "We're just looking for middle ground. This gives her everything and gives me nothing." Her mom fired back. "Marriage is about sharing." "Exactly," I replied. "And this document says I share, she takes." They left. My fiancée lingered at the door. "It's watery." "This is really it?" I nodded. "You're choosing money over us." I looked at her one last time. "No, I'm choosing protection. Because you chose entitlement." She left. And I finally felt peace. But peace doesn't last. Not when someone realizes the ATM's gone offline. By midweek, she emailed the wedding venue asking to postpone. They emailed me for confirmation. I'd paid the deposit. I told them, "Do not cancel unless I say so." If she wanted to end it, she could call me. Not do it behind my back. 2 days later, I came home from work to find her in the condo again. Still had a key. She was crying, wedding binder open on the table. "We can't do this," she said. "The invitations go out next month. Let's fix this." "Okay," I replied. "Then sign the prenup." She hesitated, then tried to negotiate. "What if you pay my loans first?" "No, I just want some security." "You had it. You threw it away when you tried to invoice me for love." She stood, didn't say goodbye. That night, I called a locksmith and changed every lock she thought she still had access to. The next morning, the banging on my door shook the hinges. She tried her key. Didn't work. Then she started shouting, "You changed the locks? Are you kidding me?" I answered through the Ring camera. "Nope, not kidding. You don't live here. You told me to leave. Remember?" Her voice cracked. "I still have stuff here. I packed it. It's in the garage. I'll have it delivered." She stood there fuming, mascara running, fury in every word. "You can't just lock me out." "I can. And I did. Like you tried to lock me out of my own assets." She screamed something unprintable and left. I saved the footage, just in case. Later that day, her lawyer or the same guy pretending to be one emailed mine a formal letter demanding the engagement ring back. I laughed. Under state law, the ring was a conditional gift. Condition B, marriage.no wedding equals no ring. Attorney fired back with case law. They went silent for a week. Then came her real attempt at retaliation, a scorched earth campaign. She started telling mutual friends I was controlling, that I ambushed her with a financial leash, that I humiliated her by choosing money over love. Some friends called, confused. I stayed calm, just said, ask her if Jessica's husband has a prenup, then ask why it's a problem when I do the same thing. Usually ended the conversation right there. But the biggest twist, her father called me. We'd always gotten along. I expected a lecture. Instead, he said quietly, can we talk? Man to man? We met at a quiet bar. He looked tired, older, like the situation had aged him 10 years and 2 weeks. He nursed his drink, then sighed. My wife's been feeding her this idea of luxury and entitlement for years. The BMW obsession? The designer bags? That's all her mother. Listen, he continued. I should have spoken up sooner, but I stayed quiet. Tried to keep peace. You called her out. And I think she needed that. You think she gets it now? He shook his head. Not yet, but maybe soon. The next day, I got a formal cease and desist email, not even from a real legal firm, just a Gmail address. It claimed I was causing her emotional distress by refusing to remove the prenup and that I owed her $5,000. For humiliation, I forwarded it to my lawyer. She laughed hard. This isn't a legal document. It's a bluff. Let them keep bluffing. Truth is a defense. Keep your receipts. So I did, and I made one more move. I sold the ring, got $11,800 for it. Almost exactly what I'd lost in deposits. Put it in my personal savings. She wanted a car. I got financial clarity. The wedding was officially canceled a week later, and just like that, she was out of my house, out of my accounts, and out of my life. But the story wasn't over, because someone else had a few things to say. Jessica's husband reached out again. This time, to thank me. He texted me out of the blue. Man, I heard the fallout. You good? I replied with a dry, define good. Next thing I knew, we were grabbing beers. Just two perfect husbands, one divorced from a fantasy, the other still trapped in one. He leaned in halfway through his drink. You know, when you texted me about the prenup, I thought you were just poking around. Didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I shrugged. I was just following instructions. She told me to be like you. He laughed, but there was something heavy in it. I wish more guys had your spine. When we signed our prenup, she had a meltdown too. Screamed, cried, said I didn't love her if I needed a contract. But I stood firm. And you know what? It helped. How? He paused. Because when we hit a rough patch last year, that prenup meant we had clarity. No games. Just two adults figuring it out. And that safety made it easier to stay. I nodded. Mine didn't want clarity. She wanted options. Mine for her, none for me. He raised his glass. You dodged a bullet. Trust me. And he wasn't the only one who thought so. That week, her brother stopped by to pick up the last of her stuff. He looked uncomfortable, like he hated even being there. Man, I think you did the right thing. Honestly, the whole family's tired. She's been like this for years. Entitled, spoiled. We just didn't expect it to go this far. She said she'd sue me for locking her out. He rolled his eyes. With what lawyer? The one who handles parking tickets and sends cease and desist emails from Gmail. I smirked. She's staying at our parents' place. But not for long. Even Mom's done. She tried to blame you for the whole thing. Mom told her, you don't light a match and cry about the fire. That one stuck with me, because that's exactly what had happened. She thought she could twist the narrative. That people would rally around her because I asked for accountability. But all she did was burn bridges. Her cousin messaged me. We saw the group chat. We know the BMW thing wasn't a joke. She meant every word. Her best friend ghosted her. Even Jessica unfollowed her on everything. Quiet, digital exile. And then came the final Hail Mary. A handwritten letter slipped under my door. 3 pages long. Elegant cursive. Smelled like her perfume. The opening line? I think we both overreacted. The letter danced between guilt-tripping and gaslighting. She was willing to move past the prenup if I apologized for humiliating her. Said she still loved me. That she might be open to reconciliation. If you're willing to admit you took it too far, then the kicker. I'm willing to forgive you for changing the locks. Forgive me I took a picture of the letter and texted it to her dad. He replied 5 minutes later, "The audacity is genetic. Stay strong." I kept the letter. Not because I wanted her back, but because it reminded me what manipulation looks like dressed as love. Next morning, I took the final step. I went to therapy. Time to unpack why I let it get this far. Because recognizing a red flag too late is still better than ignoring it forever. 2 weeks after I changed the locks, I got a text from her cousin. "Bro, check Sophia's Instagram." I did. Gone was the highlight reel of curated brunches and Fox-candid rooftop selfies. In its place, a Notes app apology post. Sometimes we hurt people we love while trying to protect ourselves. I'm working through things. Growth is uncomfortable. The comments weren't buying it. "Girl, you lied about a girls' trip. Gaslight, gatekeep, go home. Your man deserved better." She deleted it by sundown and set her profile to private. The image? Cracked. The support? Gone. And the consequences? Only beginning. Turns out, Sophia had been living large on appearances, and the belief that someone else would always foot the bill. Without me? The math stopped mathing. Her mom, Diane, called me a few days later. I assumed it was more drama. Instead, she apologized. Again. She lasted 5 days in our house before I kicked her out. Caught her trying to pawn family jewelry to pay for an apartment deposit. Jesus, I told her you made your bed. Now lie in it. Alone. In that motel. You're booking week to week. Because yeah, Sophia had burned every other bridge. She tried staying with Jenna. Lasted 72 hours. Apparently Sophia expected Jenna to cover rent and groceries while she got back on her feet. Jenna's boyfriend shut that down fast. Cassie said no outright. Her girls' trip crew had imploded after the truth came out. Brad dumped Jenna. Tom and Cassie went on a break. The group chat died. A messy, screenshot-fueled death. And Sophia? She tried Diego. You remember Diego, her college ex? The one she claimed was just a friend. He let her crash for one night. Then his roommate, who was friends with Diego's now ex, threatened to kick them both out. Apparently, Diego hadn't been upfront about rekindling with his ex in Miami. Sophia's welcome evaporated fast. She ended up in a cheap extended stay motel, trying to scrape together rent money from freelance gigs and expired favors. Her job? Hanging by a thread. Elena, her sister, texted me, laughing bitterly. She keeps crying at her desk. Her boss pulled her into HR after she missed 3 deadlines. Told her if she didn't pull it together, she's done. Meanwhile, she was still texting me. One afternoon, I got 8 messages in a row, each one swinging between bargaining and rage. "I'm sorry, okay? We both messed up. You're punishing me for wanting a nice life. This is financial abuse. You're leaving me homeless. Please. Just one conversation. You owe me." I didn't answer, but I screenshotted everyone. Then came the most surreal moment yet. An email titled, "Business Proposal," from Sophia. She laid out a payment plan, asked me for a $5,000 loan to help secure stable housing, and promised to pay me back over 2 years. She ended the email with, "Since you're partially responsible for my current situation, it's only fair you help fix it." I replied with one word, "No." 5 minutes later, the real storm hit. 8 new emails. Subject lines like, "Please don't do this. I'll sue you. You're evil." I blocked the address and laughed for a solid minute, because the same woman who refused to sign a prenup to protect our money now wanted me to give her money entitlement in $4,000. It all blew up on a Sunday. I was scrolling Reddit, killing time, when I saw a trending post on or Coozing Beggars. Screenshot of an email. Familiar layout. Familiar tone. The title? "My ex-fiancé wants a $5,000 loan after refusing to sign a prenup." I blinked. Someone had leaked it. Then I saw the handle. Recoveringum123. Marcus, her ex before me, the one she swore was toxic and couldn't handle an independent woman. Turns out, he'd been watching all this unfold with quiet vindication. After she tried to destroy his name with the same tactics, he kept everything. Texts, receipts, even her voice memos. He'd reached out to me before. We grabbed beers once, compared scars. He said, "I wish I'd done what you did. All I did was vanish." Now, he wasn't vanishing. The Reddit post exploded. Top comment: she rejected a prenup, demanded a luxury car, and now wants a bailout. Lamal: hope this guy's Venmo still works. Another: sounds like she wants the benefits of marriage without any of the commitment. Girl thought she was dating a wallet with a pulse. It hit Twitter by noon. TikTok by dinner. People started digging. Screenshots surfaced, old ones from her stories, bragging about never paying for a thing, and men being providers by nature. One especially damning TikTok from last year resurfaced. Ladies, don't split the bill, ever. If he can't cover you, he can't handle you. The ratio? Brutal. Even girls who once cheered her on were turning. Then her roommate from last year, the one she ghosted on rent, posted on Facebook, "She owed me $2,300. Disappeared. Never paid." All while posting lobster tails and beach selfies. She's not misunderstood. She's manipulative. Sophia tried to fight back. Bad move. She posted a tearful video captioned, "Stop bullying women for wanting security." She blamed patriarchy, blamed trauma, blamed emotional abuse from me. Said I weaponized a prenup to humiliate her publicly. The comments were not kind. You compared him to Jessica's husband until he did what Jessica's husband did. Now you're mad? Nah. Security doesn't mean mooching. This isn't abuse. It's accountability. By the next day, her work had gotten wind. Someone forwarded the video to her HR department. Elena, her sister, texted me. She's on unpaid leave. They're reviewing her contract. Brand reputation clause. Her clients started bailing. Her consulting gig dried up overnight, and yet she still wasn't done. 2 nights later, I get a Venmo notification. 100 from Sophia. Memo: happy now. I laughed so hard I scared my cat. She followed it up with a message: I hope your $595,000 keeps you warm at night. I didn't respond, but I did keep the dollar. Framed the screenshot. Hung it on my wall, right under the thermostat. Turns out, it does keep me warm, because sometimes closure is petty, pixelated, and absolutely priceless. It's been 2 months. The wedding was supposed to happen next week, instead of tux fittings and seating charts. I've been sleeping better, eating better, and building the kind of peace I didn't even realize I'd been missing. No fights about brunch budgets. No passive-aggressive sighs about Jessica's husband. No sudden car upgrades disguised as emotional tests. Just quiet. Glorious. Honest. Quiet. The $6,500 venue deposit? Lost. The $2,700 in floral pre-orders? Gone. DJ and caterer? Non-refundable. All told, I'm down just over $9,200. Still cheaper than a divorce. My attorney called last week just to say, "You handled this better than most people with twice your experience and half your backbone." I told her, "That's the nicest way anyone's called me jaded." She laughed. I didn't. Because I'm not jaded. Just wide awake now. Sophia tried one more time. One last little jab. She sent a card in the mail. Actual paper. Classy. The front said, "Wishing you clarity and peace." Inside, "I still believe we were meant to be. But I'm glad you got the clarity you wanted. Just wish it hadn't cost me so much." She underlined me twice. Classic. No apology. No responsibility. Just a passive-aggressive dig dressed in calligraphy. I didn't reply. I just tucked the card in the same drawer as her list of compromises, the cease and desist email from Gmail, and the $1 Venmo screenshot. I call it my museum of red flags, for when future me needs a reminder. I've also started seeing someone. Very early stages. Nothing intense. Her name's Leela. On our 3rd date, she offered to split the check before I even reached for my card. Not performatively, genuinely. Then she smiled and said, "Don't worry, I don't have a Jessica." I laughed harder than I had in weeks, and for the first time since this all began, I realized something. Sophia didn't destroy me. She revealed me. She showed me where my boundaries needed to be, what respect should look like, and how love isn't proven by how much you spend, but by how much peace you bring into each other's lives. And to any guy reading this, if your partner can't respect you until you buy her a BMW or pay off her debt or sign away half your net worth, that's not love. That's a transaction with lipstick on. So yeah, the wedding's off. The fiancé's gone. The ring's been sold, but I've got my assets, my peace, my receipts, and that $1, that sits at the top of my Venmo feed, still pending. Still perfect. Because nothing says closure like a public monument to audacity.